How you doing? Okay, everybody? By the way, you're able to hear us all right at the back, yeah? I said.
We're all volunteers.
1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, good. That's better level. Great. Okay. Well, welcome back. It's so fantastic to be able to share an evening with you in the company of Colin and Chris. So do thank you so much for doing this and coming, and it's really good.
It's a pleasure.
When you sort of drive into St Albans and arriving, maybe not through the city centre, do you get sort of images flash in front of your mind and memories of living here?
Well, I went to the grammar school in Fleetwood, and basically also then to the art college, which has now turned into a shopping centre at the back of it, but the front wall is still there.
Yeah, I went to the grammar school as well, and of course, yeah, lots of memories come back. I remember when we got the second incarnation of the band together. I think it was in 1999. So it's Rod and myself, Jim Rodford, who lived just up the road, Steve Rodford, his son, who lives in Sandridge, and I can't remember which guitarist it was at the time. We've had many, and it was the first time I'd been back to St Albans for a long time, and it felt really emotional and mostly, for the most part, good. I remember the grammar school well, and then I played rugby with Old Verulaniums, which is down Cotlandswick, it's called.
Yes.
And I've been back there a few times. A lot of good memories from that.
Because that first rehearsal in 1961, you turned up with a broken nose.
I did, yes, and 2 black eyes. And actually, I think they were quite scared of me, which I liked very much. Unfortunately, it didn't last very long. But yeah, my nose was practically in my ear on that first rehearsal. Yeah.
But the fact that, you know, you've remained friends for 60 odd years is quite something in itself, really. I mean, you might have had the odd discussion about...
Well, no one else will have us.
about, you know, you didn't ever fell out musically, really. There will come into the time of the season story in a bit. But you know, it's remarkable, really, isn't it, that you've all stayed in touch?
Well, people do say that, especially, you know, when people are interviewing us, you know, as now, because they've interviewed many other bands, and there's usually a lot of fights and
friction.
Yeah, there's a lot of friction. Yeah, we didn't really have much of that.
It's great. Well, let's go to the start of side 2 on Odessey and Oracle, track 7, and Chris wrote this. It's called Changes. Tell us about this, because there's quite a lot happening here, and some good stories around it, good anecdotes.
Well, it's the only song that we all sang harmony on. So Rod, Chris, and myself were often doing that. But Paul Atkinson and Hugh Grundy sang harmony as well. Remembering that time, we're really up against time all the time in the studio. So 5 of us were around this wonderful grand piano in Studio 3 because we had to get our note for the harmony. You just need your note for the start. So we're all there getting our note like this. And time's coming up to 1 o'clock when the session finishes. The red light's on. This is sacrilege. You can't go in a studio when the red light's on. But it came. The clock went up to 1 o'clock, and 2 of these guys in the long brown coats came in, the movers and groovers, and they came in. And they took the bloody piano away.
As we were singing.
We're still singing. The red light's on. We've got our notes marked on the piano, our starting notes. And these guys came in. All right, Harry, over this way, Bernie. Come on then. And the piano was gone.
Can you hear it on the song?
I like to think you can, but I'm not sure that you can. But I would say that we did keep singing. With all this, with the piano being moved and these blokes in the long coats going on, we just kept singing.
And that take is what made it to the album.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to think so, yeah. I think we might have had to do it again, to be honest. When you've got sort of a removals firm coming in while you're singing.
Isn't it?
Yeah. You sometimes have to do it again.
Well, let's hear it. Again, it's...
I want you to picture the guys in the long brown coats while you hear this track.
And again, reflecting on a lost love, possibly. Changes.
There seems to be a reoccurring theme in your life, Chris.
I lost a lot. Yeah.
You lost a lot of love.
autumn side, how brown her eyes. Now see her walk by, peppermint coat, buttoned down clothes, buttoned up high. Diamonds and stones hang from her hand. Isn't she smart? Isn't she grand? I knew her when summer was her crown, and autumn sat how brown her eyes. I knew her when winter was her cloak, and spring her voice she spoke to me. Now silver and gold, strawberry clothes, money will buy something to hold. See in her eyes, nothing will last like emerald stones and platinum clouds. I knew her when summer was her crown, and autumn sat how brown her eyes. I knew her when winter was her cloak, and spring her voice she spoke to me. Now silver and gold, strawberry clothes, money will buy something to hold. See in her eyes, nothing will last like emerald stones and platinum. I knew her when summer was her crown, and autumn sat how brown her eyes. I knew her when winter was her cloak, and spring her voice she spoke to me. I knew her when summer was her crown, and autumn sat how brown her eyes.
Too.
Yes,
It
about
is,
changes, yeah.
I couldn't hear the removals.
No, I
could you?
couldn't.
No, I was listening.
The end bit there, was that again the mellotron?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
And-
effective.
And Hugh on bongos and finger cymbals.
Yeah. Let's go on to track 8. I Want Her, She Wants Me. This is Rod. And I think it's about, well, the lucky strike of attraction, perhaps. No teenage angst, really, from the man in this song. Life seems pretty good and kind to him. Here we go.
I close my eyes and soon I'm feeling sleepy. I sleep so easy. There's nothing on my mind. And life seems kinda, I want her, she wants me. I walk downtown and as I look around me, all around me, the people smile at me. It's plain to see that I want her, she wants me. She told me to be careful if I love her. Ooh, 'cause she had given her heart once before. She knows she doesn't have to worry. I would not make her sorry. There's nothing on my mind. And life seems kinda, I want her, she wants me. make her sorry. There's nothing on my mind, and life seems kinda. I want her, she wants me. 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 I want her, she wants me.
Bit of falsetto there from either Rod or yourself, Colin, at the end, vocally.
Yeah, I think I was in there somewhere. I was trying to work out who did what there, but
Mainly Rod at the start, anyway. Yeah.
well, Rod's singing the verses.
Yeah.
That he sings all of that song, but I join him on the choruses, and then I think the falsetto at the end is sort of every man for himself, really. I think we were all having a go there.
Hung Up on a Dream, he did the falsetto on that as well, because
Yeah.
I was saying earlier in the interval that we didn't mention it at the time. I wondered whether it was a young chorister or a treble voice, but it was a falsetto.
A falsetto. Rod's always had a very strong falsetto. He's got a really good voice, actually. So, it's never planned that I was going to be the lead singer. Rod was originally going to be the lead singer. It was just someone was asking me about this. Shall I just quickly?
Yeah, because you were a
they asked me
guitarist.
Yeah. Our very first rehearsal, when I've got the broken nose and my nose is in my ear and I've got two black eyes, it was at the Pioneer Club. But the Pioneer Club wasn't here then. It was in the centre of town. And I was a rhythm guitarist. And we that first rehearsal, we only played an instrumental. It was a old classical song called Malagueña. And as Rod was the lead singer, he didn't actually do anything in the first rehearsal. It's his band. It's always been his band. But he didn't actually do anything, except we had a coffee break, just like we did just now. And there was a broken down old piano in the corner. And he went over and he played Nut Rocker by B. Bumble and the Stingers, which was a big hit at the time. And, Rod, even at 15, he was a fabulous keyboard player. And you've got to be able to play something like that. And he just seemed, frankly, so much better than us. And I didn't know him. Don't think I even knew his name. But I went over and I said, whoever you are, you should play keyboards in the band. You're much better than us. And he said, no, it's got to be a rock and roll band. We want 3 guitars. We don't want keyboards. And I didn't know him very well. I couldn't argue the point. We got back to Malagueña, and I was playing 2 chords. If the rehearsal lasted for 3 hours, I just played 2 chords all the way through. But I thought I played them with great panache and confidence. I wasn't very good. And then at the end of the rehearsal, I was just putting my guitar away, and I always used to sing to myself, and I sang a Ricky Nelson song. I think it was It's Late, to myself. And Rod heard me, and he said, I'll tell you what, if you'll be the lead singer, I'll play keyboards. And that essentially was the Zombies. And it's just chance. But I only tell that story because someone asked me about it earlier on. It was never my intention. You may not think it with me sitting here now and pontificating, but I've always been very shy. And even just being in a band was a step beyond for me. Oh yes. Long before I met you, I was very shy. And so my vision was I would stand at the back of the stage, strumming and looking at my shoes, and hopefully no one would look at me and I would be safe. But then in the process of that first rehearsal, I was promoted, so to speak, and suddenly I was in the middle at the front, which was a bit of a shock. But that's how I became the lead singer of the Zombies. I say that also because Rod is a very good singer, particularly good harmony singer, and he has a very strong falsetto, which you were commenting on.
But didn't you came from a musical family, didn't you?
I did. I never thought about it at the time. On my mother's side, she had 5 brothers, and one of her sisters played as well. But the 5 brothers all played in semi-pro bands. So they were really, really good. And when I was really young, I used to listen to them play. And say at Christmas, we had a dance band because they would probably have some friends around as well. And they were really, really good players. So that might have made an impression on me. I don't know.
And also, you sang in a choir in a church in Hatfield.
No, I never
Didn't you?
sang. No, I never sang in a choir. I was picked out to sing at school
Don't
once or twice.
believe what you read in Wikipedia.
No, it's all wrong. I was never in a choir, but the first time I sang, I was only about 5 or 6, and I sang in front of the school. Well, in amongst the school, it's very important. I wasn't on a stage. I was in the school singing for the parents and the school. And I got through the first verse of Once in Royal David City. I know you're impressed. And that was fine. But then the teacher thought, I think we can take this a stage further. And they got me up on the stage in front of the school. Again, I'm only about 5 or 6 years old. And I had to sing something I didn't really know. I know it was a hymn 113. Remember the 13, yeah. In the hymn book. And I didn't really know it. And I slowly disintegrated. And oh God, it makes me feel bad even now. I disintegrated in front of the whole school. And that was the end of my career as a chorister. Never asked again.
So, in terms of being a frontman in this band in youth clubs and ballrooms and, obviously for many decades now since, and the solo artist that you are too, there was no coaching, you just had to, well, not bluff, but that was the word you used earlier.
I think it's quite appropriate, actually.
Yeah.
No coaching, no nothing. We just did it. I mean, it's the same with everyone, really.
Yeah, the Beatles and the Stones, you're all from that era, and Manfred Mann and
Absolutely.
Hermits and Hollies.
Paul Arnold, who was the first bass player for about a year before Chris joined, he was a friend of Rod's. And Rod said to him, he was making a bass guitar, electric guitar, in woodwork. He'd never played one, but he was making it in woodwork. And Rod said to him, have you finished that bass guitar? And he said, I have actually, yeah. And he said, do you want to be in a band? And he was the first bass player. He'd never played a bass.
Extraordinary. So, Chris, when did you learn to play guitar and keyboards, as you said, to write
I had
songs?
a skiffle group beforehand and used to play at school and...
with the washboard?
Yeah, I didn't have one. No, that was a friend of mine called Dave Reed who came from Redbourne, and we used to go out playing in pubs and things, just with me guitar and him on a washboard
What
and a
age
bass
would you
pedal.
been then? Early teenager years?
Oh yeah,
Did you get paid for some of that?
enough for bus fare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't go with your parents, you went on your own?
Well, on the bus, basically.
Different times, eh?
Yeah, different time, definitely.
When things got a bit better and we got a bit more professional, we didn't go on the bus anymore because Hugh Grundy got a Lambretta scooter, and he used to live in Hatfield, as I did, and he used to get him on the front and me on the back with his drum kit and my guitar on my back, all on a Lambretta.
Unbelievable.
I have no idea how we ever got to the gigs at all. Can you imagine seeing us
Very
arrive?
musical journey.
Yeah. But I mean, you picked up those instruments naturally again, Chris. You didn't have any formal
Well, my
lessons.
father played double bass, and he taught me double bass.
Oh, right.
So, but he taught me how to put a double bass in the back of a Mini too. It's quite difficult. Yeah. Yeah. And my uncle was an arranger for Billy Turner's orchestra, so he played saxophone as well.
Wow. So you had quite a diverse musical
Yes,
education.
I did, yeah.
Seeing it up close and personal.
Well, those are the days when you used to have family musical evenings.
Yeah. I used to dread them in my family. Went into doing puppetry in theatre with cardboard theatre. You could buy those as a kit. Next track, number 9 on Odessey and Oracle. Chris, this is a very famous song. This Will Be Our Year. It's a lovely idea, and it's a great theme, and it's still used, I know, at weddings, even in the 21st
Two of my
century.
sons got married and they played it at their weddings.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Now, on this remastered mono version, we're going to hear more of the horn section that maybe was slightly erased in the stereo
Well,
version.
basically, in those days, when our original producer was also a publisher, when he heard the song, we just had instruments playing, and he said, you could try some brass on there, and he did it on the mono track, but it wasn't on a separate track, so we only had the mono version with the brass in. So when we were asked to do the stereo, we had to sort of spread the stereo bass one side and treble the other. So it was never done in stereo.
Right, okay, so we're going to hear it now. This will be our year.
Of your love's like the warmth from the sun, and this will be our year. Took a long time to come. Don't let go of my hand now, the darkness has gone. This will be our year. Took a long time to come, and I won't forget the way you held me up when I was down, and I won't forget the way you said, darling, I love you. You gave me faith to go. This will be our year, took a long time to come. The warmth of your smile, smile for me, little one. And this will be our year, took a long time to come. You don't have to worry, all your worry days are gone. This will be our year, took a long time to come. And I won't forget the way you held me up when I was down. And I won't forget the way you said, darling, I love you. You gave me faith to go on. Now we're there, and we've only just begun. This will be our year, took a long time to come. And this will be our year, took a long time to come.
The brass on that. Sort of Penny Lane-ish.
Yes. The idea was just a hopeful atmosphere, be happy, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and why not? And you still sing that in your set sometimes, don't you, Colin, I think?
Yeah, I think I do, actually,
Yeah.
yeah. And also, in talking about, it's a song that's often used for the first dance after a wedding. My daughter broke the news to me a couple of years ago. Firstly, she's getting married, and secondly, that she wanted that as the first song after she got married. And I said, great, I think it's a fabulous idea. And she said, I want you to sing it. And I want Rod to play piano. And so that's what happened at my daughter's wedding. Poor old Rod got dragged out and had to play piano. And I had to sing. It's quite a day, really. I had to walk her up the aisle, make a speech, and then nip round and sing a song. God, blimey, it was worse than playing at the Palladium, I tell you. It's very nerve-wracking.
What a proud moment for her, though, as well, and you.
It was lovely.
Yeah.
It was really lovely. And, of course, it's such a beautiful song written by Chris.
Did that come quite quickly as well, then, in terms of the composition of it?
Yes, it did, actually. I wrote it quite a while back on the piano, and we decided to do it on the album. Simple as that. And Rod's arrangement, basically, is fantastic. So.
Yeah.
And Cher just did it on the last Christmas album.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
No, yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah? Does she keep it at the same pace and sing it sort of straightforwardly, or does she do vocal acrobatics with it? Or?
Not as good as Colin.
No.
From memory, I think it's pretty similar to that.
yeah.
I haven't heard it for a while, but it's really good though.
Another one of your songs, and this is really interesting. Tell us about it, Chris. Butcher's Tale, Western Front, 1914.
Actually, it should be 1916, which we called it, but then the record company thought we made a mistake and just wrote 1914. It was Battle of the Somme. my uncle was 16 years old when he signed up. He lied about his age, and he got
Did
killed.
you have to be a minimum of 18, really?
Yeah, and he died in the Battle of the Somme. My mother's older brother, yeah, and I was shocked by that, but basically, I read a book called The Donkeys, I think it was called, and I was driving to rehearsal when the zombies were rehearsing in Hatfield, and basically, I suddenly realised that on the first day of the Battle of the Somme, 30,000 casualties, first before breakfast. And I suddenly saw all the families that were missing people. So I was really upset and pulled to the side of the road, and I thought I'm going to have to write a song about this. And on my Saturday job as a student, I was a butcher's boy and on one of those big bicycles. So that's how I got the idea of the butcher's tale.
Around Markyate or?
Yeah, around Markyate.
Wow.
And Flamstead, yeah.
And did you say, can I sing it to Rod, or he said to you that you ought to sing it?
Well, I thought Colin was going to sing it first of all, but they both said, you should sing it. You know. And
you bought an organ from a second-hand shop for it?
Yes, pump organ, yeah. Big upright one. We had to press like pedals all the time, you know. It had a big back thing on it and everything. So when we took it to the studios, we had to put it on top of our van, had to tie it onto the roof of the van.
Where did you buy it from, round here?
No, it was, I can't remember where I bought it from, but I moved into a flat, and we went to a junk store, a second-hand junk thing, and we saw it and had to have it repaired, and basically that's how it's happened, you know. And
you've used tone on it. That's an electronic sound which was used through mixing desks to get needles in a certain place. Will we be able to hear the tone or not?
Yeah, you should be able to hear, yeah, because we recorded one track and we had to Rod actually round the tone up it was a sequence. It was on when they used to line the tapes up in the studio, so we just put it on there because there was no synthesizers in those days.
So it's about the horrors of war, really, and the preacher in the pulpit saying, "Go and fight, do what is right." But of course, as you say in the lyric, but he doesn't have to hear these guns.
Exactly. And funnily enough, when the album was firstly released in America, the first track they chose was Butcher's Tale, and we thought it was ridiculous.
As
never
a single.
been a single, because the anti-Vietnam War thing was going on, so somebody thought it might be a good idea to go out. But it's a ridiculous song to be. It'd never be a single.
Well, let's hear it. Butcher's Tale, Western Front, which should have been called 1916.
Yes, that was my trade, but the king's shilling is now my fee. A butcher, I may as well have stayed for the slaughter that I see. And the preacher in his pulpit, sermon, go and fight, do what is right, but he don't have to hear these guns, and I bet he sleeps at night. And I can't stop shaking, my hands won't stop shaking, my arms won't stop shaking, my mind won't stop shaking. I want to go home, please let me go home, go home. And I have seen a friend of mine hang on the wire like some rag toy, then in the heat the flies come down and cover up the boy, and the flies a preacher, he could see those flies wouldn't preach for the sound of guns. And I can't stop shaking, my hands won't stop shaking, my arms won't stop shaking, my mind won't stop shaking. I want to go home, please let me go home, go home.
Wow, sang with feeling and with anger, really, too, I think, in parts, yeah?
Definitely anger, yeah.
And do you know how long he was out there for before he sadly died?
I think he came home once on leave, and my mother always talks about having to get rid of the lice and things in his uniform and everything. It was terrible.
No, yeah. It's a really powerful song. Has it ever been used in a film or in videos?
That I'm not aware of, actually.
No, it would be an interesting video, wouldn't it?
Would be, yeah.
Okay, well, let's go on to track 11, Friends of Mine, again by you, Chris, about eyeing up the girls on a night out and then being in love. And I like the naming of the couples in this, Joyce and Terry, Paul and Molly, Liz and Brian, Joy and Davy and a few others. I wonder if Paul McCartney heard this and he thought, oh, right, let me in. Do you remember? He had all these people arriving at his front door, didn't he?
Did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, there's a
No.
song
They
called
were
Let Me
really
In.
all friends of ours.
I wondered,
Yeah. Terry was Terry Quirk, who did the cover design.
which we might have time to come on to. Right, okay. Paul, was that Paul Arnold or Paul Atkinson?
Paul Atkinson.
Right,
He married Molly.
Yeah.
Right.
His first wife, yeah.
Yeah.
oh, wow. I love this. This is, again, sort of quite emotional and you know, I guess talking about the value of friendship.
Yeah.
Friends of Mine.
When we're all in a crowd and you catch her eye and then you both smile, I feel so good inside. And when I'm with her, she talks about you, the things that you say, the things that you do. It feels so good to know two people so in love, so in love. They are friends of mine, they are friends of mine, and they've got something that's so hard to find. They are friends of mine, they are friends of mine, and they've got something you don't often find. When she takes your hand, when the world stays outside, that's something to see, that's nothing to hide. And when I feel bad, when people disappoint me, that's when I need you to help me believe. It feels so good to know two people so in love, so in love. They are friends of mine, they are friends of mine, and they've got something that's so hard to find. They are friends of mine, they are friends of mine, and they've got something you don't often find. It feels so good to know two people so in love, so in love. They are friends of mine, they are friends of mine, and they've got something that's so hard to find. They are friends of mine, they are friends of mine, and they've got something you don't often find. Joyce and Terry, Paul and Molly, Liz and Brian, Joy and David, Kim and Maggie, June and Duffy, Jean and Jim and Christine.
That's Friends. So let's go on to track 12, the final one on this album, Time of the Season, written by Rod Argent. Written quite quickly, but obviously we want to find out who came up with the idea of the clap and the ha, and as is portrayed in the documentary, Hung Up on a Dream, it was quite tricky for you to get right, yeah?
Well, when we play live now, yeah, I do it.
Yeah.
But I think Rod actually respectfully pointed out to me that for years I've been putting the clap in the wrong place. So it can get a bit tricky because I always try and encourage the audience to join in. But I'm not always putting it in the right place myself. So I've tried to really work on this and get the clap in the right place. But on the record, it was very much a spur of the moment thing from Rod. The track, as far as I remember, was pretty much finished. And he said, I can hear a sort of a clap and a and because of the way it had been recorded, we had a spare track. And he could. It was just one pass. He just went in and did it. And of course, it's a real moment in the song. It's quite a hook. That thing that it was just a moment's thought, and he went in and did it very, very quickly.
But he was trying to coach you from the control room, wasn't he?
Not on the clap and the because he did that. But the song had only just been finished, and so I didn't really know it that well. I mean, I excuse me because I've told this story quite a few times, but. I was struggling a bit, really. I didn't know the song very well. And Rod is a stickler for phrasing. He wants things right, I used to dread when he used to say, can you sing that phrase more on the beat? And I never was quite sure what he meant. I mean, we were working together for over 50 years, and I never knew really what on the beat meant.
You'll get it right in one day.
Yeah, I just used to keep singing it until he said, yeah, that's it, and that was fine. But with this particular one, we had this small budget. We were running out of money. The time is clicking. I had a big clock right in front of me telling me we were running out of money, and a red light on telling me I'm recording, this is live. Rod was very kindly coaching me from the control room and doing all this. Can you push this phrase? Can you sing this phrase on the beat? And it was starting to get a bit tense, to be honest, and I was starting to lose it. And the language just got worse and worse and worse. And I completely forgot that there was a control room was full as the rest of the band and people from Abbey Road and everything. And I couldn't...
Look at Chris laughing, you remember it.
I couldn't tell you the language. Shall I tell you? Yeah. It was going on and on and on and on. Again, people of a sensitive disposition, please don't listen to this. It was going on and on and on and on. And I cracked. And I said to Rod, if you're so fucking clever, you come in here and you fucking sing it. And he said to me, you're the fucking lead singer. You stand there till you get it fucking right. Remember, at the same time, I'm singing, it's the time of the season for loving. Sing that on the fucking beat! It just went on and on like that. But we managed to get it. I think we got it just as the second clock, the second arm just went, doop, and that was the end of the song. But it's just always stayed with me, that terrible language that was going backwards and forwards while we're singing this sort of wonderful song about love. Incidentally, it's all forgotten immediately afterwards, and we were at the pub and having a laugh about it afterwards. But it was a tense moment, but mostly because we were running out of studio time.
But you were a perfectionist as well. You wanted to get it right.
Well, I think all of us are the same. We've never bluffed it really. Well, bluffed some things, insurance for one, but never bluffed the singing. The phrasing's got to be right. I don't think the song would work properly if you just approximated it. There's a right way to do it.
Okay, Eddie, let's hear it.
It's the time of the season when love runs high. In this time, give it to me easy and let me try with pleasured hands to take you in the sun to promised lands, to show you everyone. It's the time of the season for loving. What's your name? Who's your daddy? Is he rich like me? Has he take us anytime to show you what you need to live? Tell it to me slowly. Tell you why I really want to know. It's the time of the season for loving. What's your name? Who's your daddy? Is he rich like me? Has he taken anytime to show you what you need to live? Tell it to me slowly. Tell you why I really want to know. It's the time of the season for love.
Arrangement, there's some space, and then louder bits, softer bits. I wonder, you can hear that in the Doors that followed quite soon after, and even maybe in Britpop in the Charlatans or the Happy Mondays, perhaps, with the organ and that. It was just such a terrific song. Strong bass line and tom-tom drumming from Hugh, eh?
Yeah, we just worked it out at the time. It felt natural to us.
Yeah. It's a really unique sound or song, isn't it?
And it's the last song that went to #1 in America.
Yeah, in 1969.
Yeah.
A record executive, Al Cooper, said it should be released again, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, you can tell the story of that.
Well, actually, in America, Al Cooper, who started Blood, Sweat and Tears, had just become a producer at CBS. And before he started his first day at CBS, he came over to London and he collected 80 albums that you couldn't get in America, you could only get in the UK. And he felt that Odessey and Oracle really stood out. And in his first day of work at CBS, he went in to see Clive Davis. He was a real heavyweight in the record industry and still is. But at the time, he was the head of CBS Records. And it was very brave of him to go in. And he said, whatever we do, whatever it costs, we have to get this album. And it was Odessey and Oracle. And Clive Davis said, we already own Odessey and Oracle. CBS already own it. We weren't even going to release it. And Al Cooper fought for it. There's so many chance things that happen. Fought for it, and eventually it was released, not on CBS, but on one of their minor labels called Date Records, which might have been part of the reason it took such a long time for there to be any success. But 2 singles were released. As Chris said, Butcher's Tale was the first one. I can't remember what the second one was.
I don't know.
And then eventually, again, Al Cooper pressured them to release Time of the Season. So we owe him so much, Al Cooper. One DJ famously in Boise, Idaho, would not stop playing Time of the Season, and it just gradually spread across the country. It took months for it to get airplay, and then it started going up the charts. And meanwhile, you know, we were in this country, and it wasn't a hit at all. And we're just getting occasional. There's no internet, so we're getting occasional phone calls. It's, you know, it's in the top 100 in Billboard. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
It went to number one on the 29th of March in 1969, and 50 years to the day later after that, in 2019, you were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
We were.
Presented by Susanna Hoffs of the Bangles.
Yeah, fantastic feeling that was.
It was an incredible evening, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There were 17,000 people there, and it's televised. And it was all the good and the great, the music industry were in the audience, so it's no pressure. We got up and we played, and you look down, and there's all the heads of the record companies and people like Mick Fleetwood, and I can't remember who is there now, but all really famous people. And playing, they didn't all play actually, but being inducted with us was Stevie Nicks, Janet Jackson, The Cure, Radiohead, Roxy Music, and Def Leppard.
Wow.
So it was quite a bill. All really nice people. And as you rightly said, there was always a speech beforehand. And Susanna Hoffs gave a wonderful speech before we were inducted. It was a very special evening.
And as we were being interviewed later backstage, Brian May put his head round the door and said, "Oh, don't want to interrupt. He said, just wanted to let you know how much you influenced Queen."
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Which was really quite interesting because a few years before that, when Hugh Grundy was working as an A&R man at a record company, his job was to listen to all these tapes that came in, and sometimes he'd just sort of play one song, half a song, and reject it. But there was one he heard and he thought, right, this is interesting, that's good, that's good. And he got through to the end of the tape, and he said, I'm going to go and see this band live. And he went to see this band live, and he went back to his bosses and said, you've got to sign this band. But they started negotiations, and this band wanted a certain amount of money. And CBS said, no, we can't take them on. That band was Queen. So they went to a different record company.
That's right. And incidentally, Paul Atkinson, who was our guitarist, also worked for CBS. And amongst other people, he signed ABBA. And, of course, ABBA went on to make...
Patti Smith?
Yes.
I think it might have been Patti Smythe.
Yeah, you're right.
And
Judas Priest?
Mr. Judas.
Mr. Priest, yeah.
He was an incredibly successful...
Bruce Hornsby.
Bruce Hornsby, yeah. Incredibly successful record executive.
Well, it's been a very special night tonight, and I want to quickly hand it over to you because I've said more than enough. So if you've got any questions for Colin and Chris, just put your hand up and fire away, you know, and we'll see what happens, if that's
Except,
all right.
but when are you going home?
Yeah. Yeah, at the back, guy in the hat.
I just wonder what you chose to play when you were inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Well, I think we were encouraged to play She's Not There, Time of the Season and Tell Her No, and then that was going to be it. But Janet Jackson decided she wasn't going to play live. There were technical problems why she didn't want to do it. And so then we were asked to do This Will Be Our Year. So we ended up doing 4 songs. And it really was a magical evening.
I love Tell Her No. That was also a hit in America, sadly not
It was a huge
here.
hit in America. Incidentally, Janet Jackson's group of people were on the next table to us. And my wife told me that when we were singing our hits, you wouldn't think this, but Janet Jackson and all her entourage were all on their feet, cheering and clapping their hands. I thought that was quite wonderful because, of course, she plays a very different kind of music. But sometimes the media gives the impression that musicians don't like other musicians that play a different kind of music. In my experience, that's not true. Musicians like all kinds of music, and that was just a very good example of it with Janet Jackson's entourage, all dancing, singing and clapping to Tell Her No and She's Not There and so forth.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, any more questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Is that true that in the 60s, when you were touring America, you actually went to Graceland? No one ever first of all?
Yes, it is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we walked to. DJ said basically, "Do you want to go and meet Elvis?" So we went up and knocked at the door, Graceland, well, at the gates, and we think his uncle came down and said, unfortunately, Elvis would love to see you. He said, but he's away filming at the moment. So come and show us. He came and showed us around, and then he said basically, it wasn't the story that he's got your records on his jukebox. We didn't believe it. He thought it was just his uncle. But Rod found out many years later from an Irish DJ who was an Elvis fanatic, basically. Yeah, no, so I'll stop you there. He had 3 of your records on his jukebox. Yeah. We didn't know.
No, I mean, it was a very interesting evening because we'd done an interview with a DJ, and it was the way he said it. He said, "Do you want to pop round and see Elvis?" We're all looking at one another, and that's literally how he said it. And then we went round there, and there was no security at all. If you ever go there now, it's a bit like Disneyland. But he lived there with his family, and there was no security. And we just opened the gates and walked up the path and knocked on the door. And it was like, is Elvis, can he come out? Is he coming out to play type thing? Mm. It was a very weird feeling.
Did you, look, I went there last year, but obviously you don't get into the rooms really. It's all sort of cordoned off, but you get a good look and you can photograph everything. So you saw his TVs, I think he had 3 TV screens in the lounge, and you saw the jukebox. So you were able to walk right up to it, were you?
Then I'll be honest with you, there was no security. We walked up to the front door, knocked on the front door. His uncle came and talked to us, and what he said was, please, look around the grounds as much as you want. We didn't go in at all. I mean, I've gone back and gone in since. We didn't go in, but we did just sort of wander around.
That was another sort of full circle moment because, as Rod admits, when he heard Hound Dog for the first time, he was hooked on rock and roll.
Yeah. That's when he wanted to, he'd always been playing classical music until then, and that's when he wanted to start a band.
Gentleman here?
Do you think that recording it under such time pressure stopped you from getting stale in the studio?
Maybe we didn't write in the studio.
No, I realise that.
So the
what's the time pressure like, sort of pushing you to just get it down before you start getting?
Well, we wanted to get it right.
Yeah, but I think that it's a good point, because I think there is an energy on that album that might not have been there if we'd had limitless time in the studio. It's, the advantages in recording now is you've got countless tracks. You can do it 1,000,000 times. You can tune it. You can move the vocal. You can tune the vocal, but you can move it backwards and forwards as well. You can do anything you want. Well, we couldn't do that. And
the most important thing is playing together, and it has to have that energy.
Absolutely. Sorry, what I was going to say was that it's great that you can do all these things, but every note you play, you've got 1,000,000 choices of what you can do with it, and it slows everything down. Well, we didn't have those choices, and it's the same with, it's not just us, it's anyone of that era. You had to just go in and play it, and I think it does add an energy. But of course, you're more liable to make mistakes if you're under pressure, so you've got to control that element as well.
Gentlemen, yeah.
Guys, how did you land on the track listing order for the album? Because the first side is quite melancholy and retrospective, and then the second is more positive, and apart from obviously Butcher's Tale, which is it's quite discordant and changes the atmosphere of the album until it becomes it ends very positively as well. How did you sort of land on the track listing?
I think we had 12 songs. I have to put them in an order. So we listened to the end of one and try what's another song to be good here in the balance of an album. Simple as that.
Yeah, I don't think I was involved in that at all, to be absolutely honest. It's one of the problems of thinking back. Sometimes we might sound as though we're a bit vague, but it's 60 or 70 years ago. I can't,
But in the days when we only had vinyl, we would listen to the whole album all the way through, either in a record shop, in a listening booth, before deciding whether to buy it. Just occasionally, maybe we bought albums where side one was our favourite and we didn't put so much on side two. But now with streaming, you don't know whether people listen to albums from start to finish anymore.
No, that's
and
right.
so a lot of thinking and hard work went into the ordering. If you talk to Kate Bush about that, she'll say that.
Exactly the same, yeah.
Well, I can remember, Chris, I can't remember you doing this on Odessey and Oracle, but strangely enough, you did this on my first solo album, which you produced 1 year, and you used to cut out, he would write the title of the song, and he'd cut out a little elongated piece of paper, and he would arrange those and constantly be changing those. And of course, you have to remember what the song's like. You're not actually listening to the song. You're just moving these pieces of paper around. But I can remember vividly you doing that.
I've forgotten that, actually.
Yeah.
Any more? Couple more? Yeah. Oh, good. Guy on the left, with the glasses, and I'll come to you.
Well, that was my flatmate at the time, Roger Mye's flatmate, and we were touring away. I think we were on tour, and basically he was in the studio and he did the drawing for it, basically, and we didn't notice, because it was flowery, that it was spelt wrong.
This is Terry Quirk, isn't it?
That's right, yes. And basically, Rod came in to me one day when we were sharing a flat with him, and he said, basically, let's say it's a cross between an ode and an Odyssey. So we stuck to that story, didn't tell Colin till, 15 years later?
50 years later, they made up this, frankly, rather weak story to try and cover
believed
this.
it.
And I believed it. I got really upset because we were doing an interview one day, and it was sort of 50 years later, and Rod said, yeah, well, of course it was a spelling mistake, and we tried to cover it. I went, hold on a minute. You've been telling me this story about this on purpose for 50 years, and worse still, I believed you. So that's the thing. But also, Chris, myself, and Terry Quirk went to the grammar school, and I don't know about your spelling, but my spelling's terrible. And obviously
Mine too, yeah.
Terry Quirk's spelling's terrible.
Actually, it wasn't. He was known as a very good speller. People had to ask him how to spell things. But
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say it's the school's fault, because I could never spell. Yeah. Sorry? I went to the same school. Can you spell? Okay, so...
Another one at the back. I can't see where you were, but I saw a hand. Yeah, go ahead again.
I just wonder which of your singles you're most proud of, both from your own individual performance, but also the band's performance as well.
I think when I have to pick a Zombies track, I tend to always go back to She's Not There, because it changed our lives forever. And it's just such I think it's a really good song and a good record as well. It's got a sort of a timeless feel to it. And so I probably would always go back to She's Not There.
I would too, yeah. It's a start.
And you talked earlier really at the beginning of the conversation about how Rod could build a picture of sound in his head or whatever. And in the documentary, I'll come back to that, Hung Up on a Dream, he describes what he wanted almost 3 sections of that song to do in visual terms. I can't remember what those visualizations were, but he's incredibly eloquent about that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming, for being here. And I'd like to say maybe you'd want to come back on Saturday the 9th of May, because Colin will be doing his Believe in Miracles tour, and you're playing here.
I know, yes, I've only just found out that. And I'm really looking forward to it, actually. We've got a really good solo band, and we will play some zombie tunes, I promise you we will. And I'm really looking forward to it.
And you can find all the details of those dates on Colin's website, colinblunstone.net. I was on it earlier. I think you can actually book tickets for it now already. There's a link, I think.
I think you can.
And on Tuesday, the 12th of May, in Milton Keynes at the Stables, where you've played many times before. Chris, you wrote a musical about all of the stuff we've been talking about and the sort of history of the Zombies, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, actually. I wrote a musical about when we went to the Philippines. So basically, That, well, do you remember, we didn't have any work in England at the time, and Tito Burns, our manager, said, I can give you 10 days in the Philippines. Colin thought it was just, he said, we said, how much? He said, £100 a night. We said, each? He said, no, between you. And he took 20% or 25% as an agent. And we flew over there. It was a long journey, and basically we arrived at 3 o'clock in the morning to be met with thousands of kids at the airport. 3 o'clock in the morning. Rodden thought it was a famous politician on our plane.
Yeah, you turn around and said, I think there's someone famous on this plane because there's thousands of people out there. And then we were walking towards them and we thought, bloody hell, they're there for us. And I thought that we were going to be playing in a hotel bar in the evenings. And I thought, well, we can get on the beach and get a tan in the day. So as I remember it, we were only getting £80 a night. And Tito took 20 as a manager, and 10 who's our agent as well. So we lost 30% of that anyway. And sort of back to when we first started this kind of money. Anyway, we opened to 28,000 people in the Araneta Coliseum. It was the second biggest
Astrodome in the world.
Yeah, it was the second biggest thing in the world. And then we did a matinee of 15,000 and 32,000 on the Saturday night. And it went on like that for 10 nights. And even we noticed and realised that we were being underpaid, if you can imagine. 32,000
I think the word screwed, basically.
Yes, 32,000 people. And we were getting £80 a night. And Chris wrote a musical about that. It goes on and on. It got worse, actually, but it's a long story, perhaps for another night.
So you wrote original songs about just that episode, the Manila thing?
We mostly used the original songs that the Zombies did. We wrote a couple of songs intermittently, you know.
Right, but it won't be staged, you don't think?
No, didn't get enough following at the time, you know.
And your son is also writing your memoir?
Yes, one of my sons is, yeah.
Tell us about that. And is that like to be published anytime soon?
No, I don't think so. We're still working at it.
You're still working on it. I mean, and I said to you once, you should write a book, Colin.
Yeah, I keep thinking about it. I have been approached actually 3 or 4 times to write a biography. But when I start writing it, it's so bloody depressing. I think I don't want to bother people with all this darkness.
That's the way to sell it, Colin.
Yeah, no, I don't want to bother people with all this darkness, you know. So if I can cheer it up a bit, maybe I will.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the nice thing is, when we got inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we suddenly realised it's nice to be in your 70s and find out you were famous in your 20s.
Well, it's just fantastic that you're still able to talk about it and remember so much. And I mean, Colin, I'm amazed your energy. We spoke after the showing of the documentary at the Odessey in June, and then that was a Saturday night. On Monday, you were flying to America, and you did several Q&As after the showing of the film with the director, Robert Schwartzman, and then you sang a few songs.
I did, yes. It was good fun. I really enjoyed it, actually. And Robert's a great character. He sang some songs as well.
Yeah, with his band Rooney, yeah?
Yeah. And it was really, really good fun.
So your energy, I mean, you know, don't seem to be affected by age, if you don't mind me saying.
Well,
so.
I make up for it when I get home, and I've often said that one of my great gifts is sitting very, very still for very long periods of time, and so I'm very lazy at home. But yeah, I like getting out on the road and doing shows. There's an old saying, isn't there? If you love what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life, and that's how I feel about what I do.
It's a great motto, isn't it, if you're lucky enough to be able to do that. Well, look, thank you, as I say, for coming and for being here, and thank you for your questions. Any last-minute additions? And you've not asked a question you want to? Yeah, one at the back. Go ahead.
Well, it's an interesting question. I often thought about this because when we started, we were singing nearly all American songs. And even when we first went to America, so I think, yeah, we did get a lot of influences from America. And I sometimes felt a bit guilty about it because if you can imagine what the British invasion was like in America, it was hysterical. It was just screaming, screaming, screaming. A little bit like tonight, really. And I often thought...
That's panic.
I often thought that I needn't have sung for the first 2 years of our career because no one could hear me because it was so loud. And sometimes I wanted to almost stop and say, you know, we're playing, this is your music. We took this music from you, and as Rod always says, we went through a British filter, and now we're bringing it back. And I sometimes felt a bit guilty. So yes, we did take an awful lot from American music, definitely.
I want to thank Eddie from Empire Records in St Albans as well for coming along and playing the tracks in. Thank you, Eddie. And still chance to get a couple of extra Christmas presents or whatever before we shut down. And if not tonight, then you can go into his shop. I don't know if he's still here. I think it was a guy called Chris. Had these... no, not this Chris. He's gone. Yeah, with his partner, brought these 3 prints of the band in, which I think he told me he'd purchased 20 years ago, and he's given them to you, John, for the Pioneer Club to mount to put on the wall and keep, which I think was fantastic. He's seen you probably in double figures times. He was very knowledgeable, and he got turned on about 30 years ago by his stepdad to the music of the Zombies. So yeah, it was some great stories. So thank you to Colin Bluntstone and to Chris White. See you here in May. Thank you so much for your time.